I would say greetings, this is Kabanka Pyramid representing the Lion Voice vlog. Make sure that them check it out and stay tuned. See? Rastafari blessings every time.
So these are just some things about LOCS. We can go into so much more, but I just wanted to have a basic kind of overview on LOCS and why Rastafari wear LOCS. The answer is that LOCS is a covenant unto the Most High. It is a separation. It is how we show our separation from the wider society, and that we are separating ourselves unto the Almighty to give Him the praises. So for Rastafari, LOCS have a very spiritual connotation. So this is really the core of what we're going to talk about in this episode, is that LOCS is a covenant for Rastafari. This is why Rastafari wear LOCS.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice.
Summers on the track.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Panafrican Happy Man. I'm an entertainment attorney, I'm an author, I'm an actionist, I'm an artist, but right now I'm the host of the Lion Voice. Welcome to the Lion Voice. We are here. It is another sabbatical Iowa. We're giving thanks. The ecosystem is growing. It continues to grow. We have passed 700, going past 730 the last time that I checked. The aim is 1,000 subscribers by May 5th. If you subscribe, you are part of the Lion Pride. What me say? Me say, if you subscribe, you are part of the Lion Pride. So we want to grow the Lion Pride by African Victory Day. That would be a great thing. So share the video among your network. Let them know we are here building a Rastafari owned network, Lion Voice network, right here on the world's second largest YouTube. Today we are going into some basic knowledge about Rastafari. You see, I'm here without my Tam today because today's topic we are going to talk about LOCS, and we're going to talk about Rastafari. Why do Rastafari wear LOCS? You know, how LOCS became to be associated with Rastafari. We're going to just touch on these basic topics. Again, YouTube is a search engine, so we want to make sure that when people search for these topics that they are hearing from Rastafari, brethren and sistren. I've been growing my LOCS now over 20 years, and I give thanks. And we're going to just do a whole overview. And the number one question people ask is, do you have to be Dread to be a Rasta? Or do you have to be a Dread to be Rastafari? I would put it that way, because I on this channel, at the solution side of the internet, we do make a distinction between Rasta and Rastafari. Rasta is the culture that came popular in Jamaica. Rastafari are the adherents to the teachings and the life and the liberty of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, and those who acknowledge His divinity wherever they may be. They may not the adherence to Rasta culture, so to speak, or what is typically conceived as Rasta culture, but they are Rastafari. So do you have to be dread to be Rasta? Morgan Heritage have a song. Big up Gramps Morgan, brethren that I've had the pleasure to interact with on various occasions. A JMC alumni, spoke at the 2020 JMC. So big up Gramps Morgan, big up Peter, met Peter at South by Southwest. Irie brethren, they sung that famous song, You Don't Have to Be Dread to Be Rasta. And the answer is no. And we don't say this from opinion, we say this from historical fact. Because the early Rastafari did not have locks. When we look at ones like Leonard Percival Howell, who acknowledged as the founder, he established Pinnacle, the first Rastafari agrarian settlement in Jamaica that was displaced and destroyed by the Jamaican government. He did not have locks. When you talk about Dr. Claudius Henry, he did not have locks. You talk about the Prophet Gad, who was the founder of the 12th tribe of Israel. He did not have locks, and there are many brethren who profess Rastafari that do not have locks. I have very close brethren to this day who don't have locks, but they live their life as Rastafari, acknowledge the divinity of His Majesty, and you can't tell them, man, they say them on a Rastafari, and they live it. So you don't have to be dread to be Rastafari. So these are just some things about locks. We can go into so much more, but I just wanted to have a basic kind of overview on locks and why Rastafari wear locks. The answer is that locks is a covenant unto the Most High. It is a separation. It is how we show our separation from the wider society, and that we are separating ourselves unto the Almighty to give Him the praises. So for Rastafari, locks have a very spiritual connotation. So this is really the core of what we're going to talk about in this episode, is that locks is a covenant for Rastafari. This is why Rastafari wear locks. For the rest of black people, it might just be a culture. It might be returning to yourself, your natural self. The black man in his natural form is a locks man. That is a fact. But what are we defining as locks? We're talking about what they would call the matted hair, or in the Western terms, we say your natural antenna. Because if you leave your hair as a black man or black woman, it's gonna lock naturally. It's what nature will call it to do. So when we talk about the origin of locks, we're talking about Africa. We're not talking about Jamaica. We're not talking about any other place. I've seen online they're citing Greece as a potential source, India as a potential source, which, as you know, ancient India was an African civilization. You're talking about the early migration, heavily melanated people coming out of the continent. The Kush dynasty, Hindu Kush of India. So when you're talking about ancient India, of course, you would have locks anywhere there were black people in ancient civilizations, because let's get it correct, locks came before people started to trim and go to the barber. So ancient man was a Nati Congo man. That's just a reality. When you're surviving, they didn't have that time to manicure and do the hair like that. So where did locks originate? This is a question many have asked. When you look online, you see them say Greece, you see them say potentially India, some sources say Kemet, but the answer is obvious. Locks originated with the origins of humanity, which is Africa, because mankind, Homo sapien in his natural state, is a locks man. If you let your hair grow as a black person, your hair is going to lock naturally. So when we look at the origin of locks, of course we have to say the origin of locks is Africa. That being said, there are examples of locks you can find in Kemet. The mummies that have been excavated, some of them have locks upon their head. It's depicted in some of the hieroglyphic art in Kemet. So you can see that. There's another evidence of locks from a African text. Which text am I talking about? I'm talking about the Bible. When you read the Bible, you can see from the Nazarite vow to the high priest Samuel, to Samson, to different prophets, you can see this tradition of locks being a separation. We can see it in the modern sense in the Orthodox Church via the Bahatawi. So I always say, when we look at biblical history, Ethiopia is the time capsule. And when we look at Ethiopia, you have a order of monks called the Bahatawi that grow their locks, that roam the hills, that are like the mystic men of the Orthodox Church. They don't belong to any particular church. They walk and they preach, and these men are locksmen. And this, again, all of these things that we're talking about predate the manifestation of locks in Jamaica. This is before Leonard Howell, Archibald Dunkley, Joseph Hibbert, the early founding fathers of the Rastafari movement, came and spread the sound in Jamaica, causing the uprising. In the Western world, locks are associated with Rastafari for a reason, because when these elders came and professed and bust the seal about His Majesty, it opened up that third eye and returned man to himself. It's like you're waking up from a dream and you realize that you're in a state of bondage, and now you have that yearning to be free. So when we talk about within Rastafari, the revolution in Jamaica with locks, from the elders, we hear about the ancient son of thunder, Ras Tafari, aka Bongowato, and the youth Black Faith. And this was an order that would later become the Nyabingi order, where these youths were moving amongst the other ones. Our elder, big up Ras Iris, tell us about the comb sums. So the brethren them who comb them here, brethren them who had their where they hear like His Majesty in an afro bearded man. There were different early iterations of Rastafari, but the youth now came up and they started becoming militant. And then they were reading scripture, and then they come across the Nazarite vow, which is the separation unto the Almighty.
Numbers 6, King James Version. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Lord. He shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine, or vinegar of strong drink, neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes, or dried. All the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. All the days of the vow of his separation there shall no razor come upon his head, until the days be fulfilled, in the which he separateth himself unto the Lord. He shall be holy, and shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow.
But at the same time that they're looking at the Nazarite, the papers in Jamaica, this is early 50s, the papers in Jamaica are talking about the Mau Mau revolution. So they're getting images of Deda and Kamati and some of the warriors from the Mau Mau revolution with their locks there. So they're putting two and two together. And we have to big up the Mau Mau, because the Mau Mau also, again, an example of locks. Before they were prominent in Jamaica, the Maasai warriors wore locks as well in Kenya. So there are many African traditions. Again, this is the natural state. We look at locks as being extreme, but really, if you check it, the extreme is the barbarism, where you're constantly cutting your hair, because everyone naturally have their locks. So those are the two things that really precipitated locks within Rastafari movements. So within Rastafari now, you have different types of locks, and different types of locks. Again, you're looking at the different orders. In Rastafari, you have different mansion and different etiquette as it relates to Rastafari. In Rastafari, you have different types of locks. You have the Nyabingi order, which, I was called into the Nyabingi order in Washington, D.C. as a student at Howard University, and I'm going to do some content around the Nyabingi house here, which was, very powerful manifestation, historic manifestation. The more we reflect, it was a Rastafari university in a real life that was established here. We were spoiled in a sense because we had so many elders that were here concentrated in one place. So we were able to get that authentic teaching here from multiple, from Ras Pidao, Ras Iris, Nana Faraika, Ras Marcus, which we are going to be celebrating the life of Ras Marcus. As this airs, we would have just sealed up the celebration of Ras Marcus, Baba Ras Marcus. Blessing to him and his family, his homegoing mighty elder from the Rastafari, Elder CD, Nati Congo man. So, we had this powerful manifestation, but Bingi order, when you talk about locks, is really a separation. It's not a vanity. It's not a free-form locks thing, As a young Bingi man, my locks, Nati Congo, same way. We don't twist them, we don't form them. We make them grow how them grow. And that is part of what identifies your identity. Bingi man, typically we wear tam, or we cover our locks when we're in the public. And we uncover them to pray. So right now, is a state of prayer. We're going into the Sabbath. And because I just washed my Congo, and we'll talk a little bit about the hair care aspect, or the locks care. We'll talk more about the locks care aspect shortly, because you have to care your covenant. But in the Nyabingi order, you make a covenant, no scissors and comb. In fact, we burn the scissors and comb as it relates to Nyabingi. Bobo Shanti is similar. They grow their locks, and nobody sees their locks other than their queen. Bobo Shanti, anytime they're in the public sphere, they come with their turban. 12 tribe is, you can have locks, or you don't have to have locks. So those are the main mansions, and a lot of the 12 tribe brethren and sisters, their locks will be more manicured, more structured, very neat, and these things. So these are the three types. Now within all of these, there are exceptions. So you have Nyabingi man who have very neat locks. You have 12 tribe man where Nati Congo. You have, different thing. Bobo Shanti more strict. You're not going to see a Bobo Shanti without him turban in the public sphere, if him a whole Bobo Shanti order. Now you have ones who used to try Bobo Shanti and them kind of free up, or they're not really under the Bobo order, and them will have them locks out. Some of the musicians would fall in that category. But in terms of the ardent Bobo Shanti, you're not gonna see them on the locks in a public setting. So those, and then of course you have the non-aligned Rasses. You have many Rasses who are not in any mansion, and they their locks range, from free form to manicured. So one of the things that I would tell a young brethren or sister who is coming up in the order and wants to lock their hair, especially if you're doing the free form locks, is even though you let your locks grow free form, make sure that you structure them in a way that you have access to all of the different parts of your scalp. Because one of the issues, ones who just grow their locks from the zeal, they don't think about the hair care aspect. How do I know? I was partially one of these brethren where I just made my Congo grow. Later on, I had to go back and separate some things and sort out some things so I could access parts of my scalp because my scalp was very sensitive. And you need to be able to, deal with your scalp here. That's very essential when you are dealing with freeform locks. So think about it as you're cultivating a garden. Your antenna, your locks are your antenna, or it's like the fruits of a garden. Your heavens is the garden bed. So you let your locks grow, but you're also gonna have space in between where you can walk, where you can do your maintenance and do what you have to do, because you have to maintain your locks. You have to clean them, you have to scrub them, you have to squeeze them out, you have to really make a lot of efforts to make sure you keep your locks clean, because you don't want your locks to get mildew, you don't want them to be moldy. When we wash our locks, we have to take time and dry them. Sometimes you want to do things, when you're in the trad like I and years where you're in the trad, washing your locks, drying your locks is a whole production. So you have to take that time. So, that's for the free form. When you are going into the manicure locks now, then, you have to sort that out. Some people go to the hairdresser. I don't know any Rastafari brethren or sister who go to loctician or hairdresser. This is a to be fair, it's a relatively new manifestation on the earth, but I don't know any serious Rastafari who go to a loctician. If you're a Rastafari and you go to a loctician, drop a comment, let I know. I don't have anything against that. Brethren going to the hairdresser regularly to maintain them locks, I'm not into that part of it. But hey, it's a new world. Bingy man, no way is that going to happen. Bingy man, only his queen is going to be able to touch his locks on earth. That's the order. Nobody should be touching your locks as a Naya Bingy man. Bobo Shanti order, I would imagine, is something similar. Again, I can't speak for the 12 tribe or the other orders. I would only speak for what I know. And Naya Bingy, only your queen is going to maintain your locks. And then we have to get forward to the queens. And this, brethren, why is another benefit of having a queen. Your queen, my queen, take the time to do a soak. We have the hot water. You steam out the water, you put the different herbs, apple cider vinegar, different things. You soak your locks, get out all of the residue, everything. My queen do all of that work for I, and that is so Isla. So if a man pay and go to hairdresser and get that done, will we condemn him to ashes and burn him? Maybe, I don't know. I wouldn't do it, but because I don't know the energy of the one who's touching the covenant. And that's another thing. We take this covenant very serious when we pray, when we do everything. This is a conduit to the Most High, because an extension. You ever somewhere and something not right, the hairs on your neck stand up. Well, when you have locks, it's an amplification, because you've not altered yourself. You're standing in your divine form. So our intuition is heightened when you're a Congo man. If I lie, me I tell, put it in the comments. All of the people with locks know what I'm talking about. Drop a comment, let the people know, how we have higher perception with our Congo. This is how we know Babylon has been falling for decades. And now you see everything that the Rastafari brethren and sisters say have come to pass. They are coming to pass. We were seen as extremists, as zealots, all of these things, but everything what we say, or the elders said, we see it now have come to pass, or it's coming to pass. So the herb as the healing of the nation, Ital Livity, fall of Babylon, repatriation, the return of Africans to the continent, all of these things were the core teachings of Rastafari when they were first professed, were seen as extreme and delusional. Today we stand here in 2023, and it's a fact that can be searched on the internet. So this is what we're talking about today on the Lion Voice. We are giving it from our perspective, because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the lion's voice.
Lion voice. Ain't got no money, I'm short on cash. Plus a little bit I got to make it last. Some driving in the fast lane, drive too fast, and when they crash, no for them crack like glass. Some act like they never had no past. I ask them about the history, them grin and laugh. They don't know what we've been through, see what they into. I say I'm African, no, they say they're Africans too. Well, who built the OAU? When I ask them for them now, they can't say who. How many stay true and seek that light? How many sell them soul for the money and hype? It's funny how money make a man delight. The same money turn around and make him lose his life. But who gonna teach the people them how to survive? But we not the lion from Judah tribe. Who gonna make sure that the black man rise? We not the lion from Judah tribe. Who gonna take the dogs and open their eyes? We not the lion from Judah tribe. Who gonna shine his light, reveal all lies? We not the lion from Judah tribe. Some ain't got money, they lost their job. Some ain't got money, so they steal and rob. Some work hard just to get the car and the house, get laid off, creditors are kicked out. Some sell rocks to the people for the love of the money. Some start doing evil. Some push dope in their veins. Who lost our hope? Some break the chains. Tell them about the lion who can't be tamed. Rule Mount Zion crowned with a new name. Might of the Trinity manifest in the flesh. Now the energy can't be contained. Who gonna teach the people them how to survive? We not the lion from Judah tribe. Who gonna make sure that the black people rise? We not the lion from Judah tribe. Who gonna take the stripper, open the eyes? We not the lion from Judah tribe. Who gonna shine his light, reveal our lies? We not the lion from Judah tribe.